Today we're going to talk about naming molecular compounds. Don't forget, a molecular compound is the same thing as a covalently bonded compound. It's made of all nonmetals, that's the right-hand side of the periodic table, plus hydrogen, who are sharing electrons. When we name molecular compounds, it's different than ionic compounds because we use prefixes to indicate how many atoms of each element are in the molecule. Here are the prefixes you're going to want to know for this class. You are allowed to write on your periodic table, so go ahead and copy them down there if you don't think you can remember them. Mono is one, di, tri, tetra, like the game Tetris, has 4 cubes for every piece. Penta, like a pentagon, hexa, hepta, octa, nona, and deca. Some of these should be familiar to you. If you're going to AP chemistry, you're going to want to have them memorized for sure. There's just a few rules to follow. When there's only one atom of the first element, we're going to leave the mono off. I'll give you a good example of that you've heard before. This molecule right there is carbon dioxide. It's not monocarbon dioxide, it's just carbon. Di stands for 2, oxide. Which brings me to the second rule. The second element ends with "ide." So we don't call this carbon dioxygen, we call it carbon dioxide. Remember, ionic compounds do not use prefixes. This is a little bit tricky to remember once we start using the prefixes. You'll like them and they're easy to use. So for example, MgCl2 is not magnesium dichloride, it's just magnesium chloride. I spoke about this already a little bit, but I want to make sure you know there are 7 diatomic molecules. These 7 elements always travel in pairs when they are a molecule. I call them the H7 club. You've got hydrogen as H, it starts at number 7, it makes a 7, and there are 7 of them. The 7 diatomics are hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. You'll notice I don't call this dioxide, I just call it oxygen. They're called by their element names. For example, N2 is not dinitrogen or dinitride, I just call this nitrogen. This is so that when chemists are talking to each other and I say oxygen, I know that I mean O2. Here are some examples for you. This one I went over already. CO2 is carbon dioxide. CO is carbon monoxide. Now you'll notice here that the O is the same O that's in the oxygen. That sometimes happens if it starts with a vowel. CCl4 is carbon tetrachloride. N2O3 is dinitrogen trioxide. And finally, P2F5 is diphosphorus pentafluoride. Now, sometimes things have special names. I'll give you a great example of one. How about the very dangerous warning dihydrogen monoxide, DHMO? Avoid contact and inhalation, can cause severe injury or death. You can read through these. It's a little bit kind of silly to think about, but dihydrogen monoxide is water. And we don't call this dihydrogen monoxide. We just call it water. NH3, sure, you can call it nitrogen trihydride, but more likely you'll see it written as ammonia. CH4, carbon tetrachloride, or methane. And C6H14 is one that we're going to be working with tomorrow, or a day coming up soon. That's hexane. So that's really it. That's how you name molecular compounds. You use prefixes, And don't forget everything that you've learned about ionic compounds because they are a different kind of compound.